Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm Stefan Christov. Today I'm going to talk about the coronavirus, human rights, and perhaps general message. So, first of all, let me start by saying that this video is on a serious note, and I'll be talking about human rights from the way I know them, and as it is what I specialize in, namely international European human rights. Before that, international law, including European law. So you can say I'm an international European lawyer. I will start by talking about the coronavirus, not from my opinion, but what we have heard and perhaps what the truth is as far as it goes to human rights. So, first of all, let me tell you that the human rights that we're most concerned about are the right to life and the right to freedom. It just so happens that even by law, the right to freedom is inherent in the right to life. However, in human rights, if you break the law, you lose this right to freedom, which is why legally the police can arrest you if you've broken the law, for example. Or you can go to prison if you've broken the law, for example. So, what is the issue that we might be looking at? Well, first of all, the legal issue that we can perhaps look at is to what extent are the fines imposed or all the measures imposed, such as not letting people walk without a mask outside, not letting them walk in parks at all, to avoid that the police won't be able to cope, for example, with everyone, and there will always be too many people playing around and the virus getting spread. Or for example, the fines, the measures of the fines. Well, of course, most countries, at least in Europe, have signed not only the European Convention on Human Rights, of course, but also the International Convention on Human Rights and other conventions. And their national law, though, says, for example, as is here, that this is force majeure, so to speak, where we can impose different measures in order to combat this epidemic. What is the issue? Well, the issue is what exactly is meant by not being able to go to public places? And are people being treated as they're innocent before being proven guilty, or vice versa? By law, normally, at least for such offenses, people should be considered innocent before proven guilty. So, is it right, for example, if you're in front of your building and the police passes by checking if people are gathering outside or not, as a lot of people do on the benches or whatever, but the police tell you to wear a mask, because legally here, for example, they said if it's a public space, well, the building, if it's owned by, let's say, the people who live in the building, it's not technically a public place. A parking lot, for example, is a public place. So that's one thing. And why should they close parks? I mean, maybe check people at the beginning of such popular parks so people can go for a walk. And why is this even an issue from a non-legal perspective, but from a specifically medical one? Well, as medics also say, it's not healthy to stay at home and not get fresh air, not get exercise, not get sunlight. You need to move about. You also benefit from fresh air, especially air that is, for example, from a mountain area or where there's plants which give you oxygen and so on. And also the sunlight helps you for your mood, of course your skin, but also for your bones, the vitamin D, that's how it's processed. So there's a lot of conflicting theories here. And now to speak about the coronavirus, well, some people say that it's a biological weapon. Some say that it wasn't used right, that it was dropped by mistake, either by where it started. For example, perhaps it's true that it started in Wuhan, perhaps not. Perhaps it wasn't made there, it was made somewhere else. Some say that these scientists had worked before in Canada. Perhaps it was an accident, perhaps it evolved from another biological weapon again by accident. Because it's interesting why this coronavirus is different, because since the 60s, from animals, we know there's coronavirus, different types, and there's vaccines for all of them. However, for this one, not yet, or they can't. They said they would take them 8-9 months to make one. And so that leaves us the other conspiracy that it's made to control people. So how would they control them? Well, getting rid of paper money, saying that this way, as for example in Belgium, you couldn't pay in paper money to send a delivery, even though the company said that you could give the money to the delivery man. So even companies themselves weren't fully aware of the laws imposed, or they hadn't taken the same measures on all grounds. And yeah, of course, if you get rid of paper money, there's better control wherever. Then, of course, more people might get hacked, more people might get their money stolen. And who exactly wants to control these people? Is it the governments? Conspiracies say that it's large corporations, which is other conspiracy that it's made to make the rich richer, the poor poorer. How? Well, large corporations right now are either connected to the whole medical industry. They'll be releasing a vaccine perhaps. Other way is that small and medium-sized businesses, especially if they're going bankrupt, people will be selling their lands. They'll even be offering to work for less money than usual, or to do jobs that they wouldn't have done anyway because they had a business that was perhaps functioning well. And so it's an easy way to make a lot of assumptions around this coronavirus when we don't know the exact truth. Some people say they do know the truth, that it was not made by people, that it was made by other beings on Earth, that a lot of people had interest in this, that it was some kind of an accord. You see, these are all the different truths, if you want, or different theories. As of course the truth can only be one. We want to know, how did it happen? Was it a natural evolution from animals and because people eat animals, or what? Or made on purpose, and who made it and why? Now the why, here we get to the last part of my video, perhaps the message. Well, see, that's the interesting side. If you are the type of person that thinks every bad happens for good, yeah, of course you can say, you know, some perhaps consequences from the coronavirus which you think are good. If you think Mother Nature finds its way and the Earth was too polluted the way we were living and this is its way to balance things out, you can argue that. Although with all the deliveries happening, there's perhaps even more pollution now from petrol and so on. And yeah, the third is, if you're looking for some holy message and why, and if you believe or don't believe in God but yet still want to know what the religious argument is, yeah, well, this can go back to either the real truth or a hypothetical philosophical view that if the devil exists, it's because God lets him, just so you can see the difference between good and bad. And that's how free will works. We have the choice what to do, rather to live well or to do bad things and create viruses and seek greed and over control and tyranny and so on. So these are the different messages that can exist around this virus, or at least their principles. And so what could be the message? Well, the message is, maybe some would say that the coronavirus is a way, yeah, to stop some industries, or to tell people to maybe keep more social distancing and focus and meditate and work in a different way. Others say that it's just a natural consequence of evolution, so there is no message. Others will say religiously that it is up to us just to handle it. God didn't choose us to be. We're in control of this and we just have to deal with it. Because people always want this power and this free will. Well, there you go. Let's see how you handle things that happen from your own pollution and perhaps your own choices, your own biological weapons. And yeah, others can say that, yeah, biological weapons are always tested, so it's not a natural evolution, but they dropped it. It was perhaps an accident. Just how they've been testing atomic bombs and so on. So there you go. These are the different views. I can make another video if you want me to go more in depth in any topics. Please comment and I'll see what you want me to explain better or more in depth. And yeah, if you like this video, click like, subscribe, and stay tuned for my new videos. I'll be making several a week. Thank you. Goodbye.